Akwaba, and welcome to Expat Life Ghana. I'm Ayo, and this is Tony, and we are documenting our move from Texas to Ghana as we go beyond the return.
So if you're planning to move to Ghana or any African nation, there's one big decision you have to make.
Do you sell your house and cut all ties, or keep the house and stay connected to your home country?
Oh, that's a great question. Let's get this video started.
All of his friends who moved from Ghana to the States or to the UK and then moved back to Ghana, they always talked about how important it was to keep your US property as an investment and then rent it to generate income.
Right. I remember him saying that, but when it comes to keeping tethered to the States, is it really worth it?
And is maintaining that property even easy to do? We are going to explore some pros and cons to keeping your house in the US, and we're gonna have a bit of a rant about our horrible experience with our property management company. Ooh, are we gonna say their name during the video?
You bet we are. No, I'm going to say more than their name. Believe that, people.
Ouch. Okay. Yeah. Well, before we get into the rant, check that out later in the video. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of keeping your house in the US. We meet a lot of people who are all about severing ties, all ties with America and leaving it behind.
Right. They have a very strong, I am never going back ever view on the whole thing, and I understand that.
When we moved here, we were coming for 2 or 3 years, and then we were going to revisit where and how we wanted to live.
Yes. I have a strong, I'm never going back ever view on the whole thing.
I feel like you just said that.
Very strong. Did I just say that?
Oh, yeah, for real.
I must be one of those people.
Yeah, you're never leaving.
Nope.
And we're never going back to the States?
Not if I can help it.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so remember here, guys, I'm the blood Ghanaian, and he's the American, and I want the best of both worlds, and basically you never,
I just want the best world. Hey, here it is in Ghana.
You're never leaving.
But let's focus on what matters for this video.
Okay.
Should we sell our house if I'm never going back?
Stop saying that.
Seriously though, why would you want to keep your house if you plan on living full-time in Ghana?
Okay, there are plenty of pros to keeping your house. To start with, you can have a place to go back to if you ever change your mind.
I'm not changing my mind.
No, like, not you, just like people like you, or in general.
Some people decide they're going to move here and sell everything before they even visit Ghana. That's crazy.
Don't do that.
Okay. Before they figure out if Ghana is ready for them, they sold all their stuff.
Yes.
And they're on a plane here.
Yeah.
I highly urge you to first visit. You may fall in love like I did, or you may not.
Yeah, and if you don't feel all the warm fuzzies that you were hoping for, it may be nice to still know you have a house back in the States to go back to.
Yes.
All right, so the number 2 reason, and my dad always reminded me of this, your property in the States is your income. You gotta hold on to it.
Yeah, exactly. The ideal way to live in Ghana is with some US dollar incomes.
Yes.
I tell people that all the time. Perfect way to make those dollars is with rental income.
That is how you can manage to afford your life here, possibly without having to work like here in order to get enough income to make it. If you have equity in your property and you're able to rent it, or if you own it outright, that is all dollars in the pocket. So totally follow my dad's advice. Hold on to the property and rent it out.
Yes.
All right. The third reason to keep your house is that it will help you accrue wealth.
It is a fact that Black Americans do not hold as much wealth as white Americans do. Part of that is connected to the rate of home ownership.
Yeah, if you already have a house and you've already survived the crashes and the pandemic and the rise and fall of the interest rates, don't sell now.
Yes, you can pass on this piece of wealth to your kids, and in a time between now and then, chances are it will increase in value.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so keep that house build some wealth.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And the last reason is that you may need to have a place to live as a fallback.
I'm not going back.
Okay, I hear you. You're not going back. Things in the States right now are not ideal in a lot of different ways. But
Absolutely.
in 10 or 15 more years, you might need to access better health care or proximity to family like your grandkids and your kids, or even just as a great place to have vacation time.
Nope, not going back.
All right, then. Let's talk about some of the cons of keeping your house. First up, tax liability. If you're earning income in the States and you're still retaining your citizenship, you'll probably have some tax liability that you will be required to file and claim as income. So.
Yes. Do not try to sneak past the IRS. They may be understaffed, but they will send an audit out to you in a nanosecond. Trust me, you don't want to mess with the government. Give them their money. The con number 2 is renting your house means dealing with renters.
Ooh.
And having to deal with what renters do to your house.
Ooh, totally. That may bring some stress and anxiety, or just a headache to you to have to manage all of what's happening in your house from so many thousands of miles away.
Yes. Reason 3, there is stress in maintaining the house. So much stress. We lived outside Houston, and the 87 named storms in the Gulf. I'm serious. This year, just alone, it was just like so many.
There were not 87 name storms.
Okay, the 75 named storms in the Gulf. Every storm I was thinking, is it going to come through Houston? Is it in the Gulf? What's going on with it? So that bothered me.
Yeah, especially after Harvey, where we had to swim out of our house.
Yeah, it felt like that. After living through Harvey and swimming out of our house, those storms, it stresses me.
Yeah.
Even the boys, when they hear it, they think about, the flood.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, it's so difficult, especially from far away, to have to deal with the outcome of a storm if there were to be one. So I think that really, that is a big stress. I completely agree with you.
Yes. Or you take all the necessary precautions to make sure there's minimal impact if a storm does make landfall.
Yeah, you can't do that because you're not there.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. So you can use a property management company if you are going to maintain property in the States.
Yes.
They manage the repairs, tenant issues, they collect the rent, and they also generate some of the financial records you'll need at tax time to file that income.
But that brings us to another possible con, dealing with the management company.
Dun, dun, dun. Before we launch into our rant, let's recap.
Maintaining property in the States may incur tax liabilities, some headache with tenants, stress from maintaining the property from so far away, and the hassle of the management company, the wrong management company.
Okay, but maintaining property in the States generates monthly income, it can help you to accrue wealth, and it can provide you a place to live if and when you decide to return.
Not returning, not going back.
Okay. All right, if angry rants are not your thing, then hit the like button on this video and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Hi, I'm Leo. Subscribe right now.
All right, so let's get this rant started. When there isn't a hiccup, everyone is awesome for the most part. Most places can manage when there's no hiccups. They're just collecting a check, taking their cut, and sending you your money.
Yeah, when times are good, managing property is easy. It's when the crap hits the fan, that's when you separate the wheat from the chaff.
Wait, wheat from the shaft? You mean the walking from the talking?
Oh my gosh, okay, yeah, that's what I meant. That's when you separate the good ones from the crappy ones.
Yes, if you'd asked us in January how we liked our management company, we would have said we loved them, no problem.
Totally true. They came highly recommended. They had great reviews online. We checked them out before we ever signed with them,
Right.
had good feelings. Everything was good.
Yes, so February comes. There was the big freeze in Texas. Temperatures dropped, power outages made pipes freeze, and everybody
Everybody
had
did.
busted pipes when the temps finally warmed back up.
Yeah, and it was a rather terrible event. There were like lots of people that had to navigate the extreme cold with no electricity and no heat. So at that time, we got an email from the management company. Are we going to name them?
Yes, we will name them. The national chain, Real Property Management, with the franchises throughout the states.
Yikes. Okay, so Real Property Management, or RPM, sent an email saying that if you don't hear from them, everything is fine. Otherwise, if there was damage at your property, they would reach out to let you know.
Yes, a week went by, no word from them, so I'm thinking, okay, good, we're in the clear. We had just upgraded 85% of the house to the PEX pipes that don't freeze, so I was feeling real good not hearing from them.
Yeah, and you were like that whole week, you were really anxious because we bought our house 2 months before Harvey, and then during Harvey, our house took on over 4 feet of water, and we actually had to swim out. I swam out with Leo on my African back wrapper, right? Like wrapped on my back. My dad's on an inflatable mattress, floating out of the
kids
house.
are holding on to it as I'm pulling it out.
As we're trying to get through. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Our neighborhood never flooded in its nearly 40 years, so we really didn't think the house would take on water.
Over the next 3 months, you rebuilt that house, the entire thing, and had us back in the house in time for Christmas. Thank you very much.
No problem, babe. Part of that move-in included a massive effort to treat the entire house for water damage and mitigate mold.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a really big, that was like a huge part of it. And you were in on every single part of mitigation, of treating water damage, of tiling and stud, and I don't know, everything that goes back into a house. I don't know what goes back into a house because I'm not part of that. But you made every decision, and I love that house.
Yes, me too. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and money went into that house. So, yeah, I know why you love that house.
Yeah, well, so when we didn't hear anything, we were both like, yay, we dodged a bullet. All that PEX upgrade really paid off.
Everything.
Yes.
It wasn't until 10 days after that freeze that we found out that there was water damage. Pipes burst and water caved in, and some ceilings exactly where we didn't upgrade the PEX.
Yep, it was like that 15% that didn't get busted, or didn't get upgraded.
That didn't get upgraded.
Totally busted.
Yeah.
So the implication was that Real Property Management, like this is just my assumption, was that they were going to make the necessary repairs as fast as possible and make sure that there's no mold or no lasting water damage on our property. I mean, that's my assumption. Is that.
Right. They asked if we were filing an insurance claim.
Yep.
And here's where things kind of went sour with them. They asked if we were filing an insurance claim, and we said no, we weren't. The damage seemed like it would be $2,000 to $3,000, and from this distance, we wouldn't be able to meet the adjusters and all that stuff with the insurance. So we were like, yes, we'll pay out of pocket.
I know. I mean, after going through everything with Harvey, and we had another claim like about 6 months after that, we didn't want to deal with insurance. If it's something we can pay for out of pocket, let's just do that and move on. So in March, now February freeze, in March we heard that they finally made it out to the property to take pictures and assess the damage. March.
Yes, we have a digital portal to show when repairs are requested and fixed. 48 hours after they're notified us, there are repairs still needed. I put the $1,600 into the repair account, and a few weeks later, the online system showed all the repairs were done.
I know. It was pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we're sorry we didn't get out to your property so fast, but here's the damage.
We got everything fixed for you.
And we got it all fixed.
I'm thinking, okay.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So anyway, here it is, May rolls around, and we're kind of still getting these trickle of confirmations that repairs are finished. And I'm like, oh, kind of thought they were
all done.
I thought they were all fixed. So these, maybe they're just ghost. Like maybe someone's clearing the system. I could be confused. I'm not sure. So.
And from March to May, we were getting like,
What's going on?
what the, is water just sitting there all this time, and is the tenant still paying rent? And not me. I'm like, something's up.
Yeah, because something doesn't sound right. At the very end of May, the tenant cyber stalks us, really. Like, there was no other way to get a hold of us. I think they just started asking neighbors and trying to figure out how to get a hold of us.
Yeah, I think that's how they got us, yeah.
So they contact us to let us know that none of the repairs have been done. N-O-N-E, none. And that they were the ones that did the plumbing repairs because they couldn't go without water after the first couple of weeks. So they themselves drove to Louisiana because Houston was out of materials.
All materials, yeah.
Drove to Louisiana to get the parts and then paid for everything out of pocket after several failed attempts to get someone from Real Property Management to come out and fix the pipe problem.
Yes, so at that point, I'm really mad. I thought it was all fixed. We hopped on the phone with Real Property Management for a status check. They told us that the tenant was the issue. They were refusing to let the carpenters in and giving them the runaround.
And I'm like, huh? You mean these people who just cyber stalked us and called us for help? That does not sound right.
Yeah, what sounds wrong from someone who has managed multiple properties in the past, when we were talking about water damage, it's urgent.
For real.
You have to get in, get it open, get it dried, get it treated, and as soon as possible. There is no, I'm going to wait a few months. You need to hurry and act on it fast.
And that was what was really irritating as they're talking to us, is that you really have managed multiple properties before.
Right.
You've gone through water damage.
Yeah, I've managed properties that, you know, from Hurricane Rita and Katrina and all those in the South when we moved. So I know how to deal with water damage.
Right.
They failed miserably.
And it's got to be fast. You can't wait.
You can't let the water just sit.
And now the tenant is making the plumbing repairs? I mean, like, no offense to the tenant. Are you a licensed plumber? And all of this is the beginning of June. J-U-N-E, June. 4 months after the event, there is still no treatment, no remediation, and significant signs of water damage inside of our house.
Right. When the tenant reached out to us, they made it seem like they had sent one repairman who didn't do much.
I think he just like took down the rest of the drywall and kind of tried to gather up the mess.
Yeah, and then while he was there, he damaged the brand new door we had just put in. What else?
I love that door. It's the one with the blinds in the door. You know, it's an expensive door.
Yeah. You know, and they left, and she's like, yeah, that contractor never saw him again. And it was like they were just sending any Tom, Jack, Harry with a hammer.
That's what it sounds like.
They were like, oh, are you a plumber? Well, you look like one. Here, go to this house. And I'm like, no.
And I know there was a shortage of plumbers too. Like, everybody had the same problem. So I understand that. But now we're talking about June. And it sounds like Real Property Management was just sending the bottom of the barrel. Not professional and presentable craftsmen at all. They're just kind of making you wonder if you want to open your door to some folks, if you know what I'm saying.
And it sounded like that's what the tenant was having an issue with. Like, they didn't trust the people that Real Property Management were sending
to be in their house by themselves. They were like, listen, we're going to have to be home
because... These look like some shady people.
Drop a comment below and let us know what you think.
So back to that phone call, they said because we didn't file a claim, they thought we were trying to keep the prices down, and that was the reason that they thought we didn't have the money for the repairs. And the estimate came to us in the electronic system and was paid in full in less than 48 hours.
So why would they think that we didn't have money for the repairs?
Never do we say, oh, there's a money issue. We were like, no, we'll pay it out of pocket. That's not a problem. I remember saying it just like that to let them know, get this done correctly and
quickly,
in a timely manner.
Right, and because we also know when you work with insurance, you have to wait. You have to wait for your adjuster. You have to get a quote for the repairs. You have to submit
when the entire city of Houston froze and had, massive problems,
you don't want to get in line.
Yeah.
So it was like, yep, sent us the invoice. We paid it. We asked for pictures of the house to see what had been done and what was still outstanding from RPM. And they said they would do an inspection, which, by the way, they charged us for to do this inspection. But we wanted to see pictures of kind of how everything stood and get a better understanding. And when the pictures came back, the ceiling still had water damage. There were still unfinished areas. I mean, it was just total BS.
Yes, the workmanship was horrible. The finished product from where they had just closed up the ceiling There was clear water damage on the wall.
You can still see water damage.
The quality of work was so bad. They didn't tape and float the corners. You know, they were just basically caulking corners.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get just incompetent.
Yeah, and
just incompetent workers.
And I don't even know what all the stuff means that you just said. All I know is it looked ugly, and it looked like no one had ever even gone out to do anything. It was just incomplete altogether.
Yeah.
And those pictures were the first ones that we had seen. That was the first week in June, right? The first week in June. We got this email and our portfolio manager letting us know that the work was all completed since seeing those pictures. So the pictures came at the beginning of the June. June 18th, we get this email. Everything's done except for this last coat of paint. Everything's finished.
Yep. But I was suspect. I asked the carpenter friend to head over and check things out as well and send us a few pictures. And when we got the report, I was PO'd.
Oh, to say the least.
He gave me
you were
some
fuming.
bad news.
You were fuming. You guys, we've already been told twice that the repairs have been finished at this point. And they've told us that everything is fixed except for this last coat of paint. That they treated the area, that they had a licensed plumber come check the work, because the tenants had made the repairs themselves, which is something that we asked for. It wasn't something they were going to do otherwise. They said that there was no visible water damage and that the ceiling and walls were all closed up. Everything is still done, right? Except there's water damage. So something is still leaking, right?
Yeah, right. And mold is absolutely growing. You know, after all that work with Harvey getting, the house treated and getting all that rebuilding we had to do.
For real.
This company we pay to take care of our house is knowingly letting water damage continue for months go. After initially reporting,
It's been months, months and months, and it's still untreated, and there's clearly still a leak because
that was February, now we're in June, and
so we keep getting told it's all done. They've told us now multiple times that everything's finished. Inside of the online system, where you can see that like a claim or a work was requested, they're clicking that it's completed. So we keep getting told it's done, but then we see these pictures from your friend, and we can still see damage. In the pictures, there's just water damage. So then we get another call from the tenant saying that things are still not done in July. And I'm like, wow, they're contacting us because they're paying rent on time, and they're still in a house that has water damage, and they're starting to be concerned that there may be mold. And they've reached out to RPM, and nothing. And that is not okay.
That's not okay at all.
That is not okay.
We get on the phone with the manager, give him a list of things we can see in the pictures that needs to be addressed and still not completed. And this is the end of July. He says he'll make sure it gets done. This is July, starting February. Keep up now. He can't tell me if a plumber has ever even been out to inspect the pipes.
I think that I was really annoyed by that part.
Right.
We've been asking, like, okay, can we get a plumbing license number? Can we get the name of the plumber who went out to inspect? We're really concerned because we want to make sure that they upgraded with PEX the same as everything else in the house has been done. We still don't even know the answer to that. I mean...
Right. Well, wow. We don't know if anything was done to see if there was mold growing behind some of these walls. So,
I mean, I have to assume.
This is October now, and we still don't know.
That's true, even now. So as far as we can tell from the pictures, they had some hack repairman come out and drywall over the uninspected pipes, right? Like they just drywalled right over it. And then that person bailed before he had a chance to even paint over the water spots that showed the damage, but that was the plan. As far as I can tell, nothing was ever treated properly. Now, yeah, maybe they sprayed some stuff on the walls, but they didn't treat mold correctly. I can tell you that right now.
Right. Yeah, after that, I called the manager and several follow-up emails. We finally could see the repairs look labeled as completed in August.
August!
From the damage in February.
August! They're finally marked completed in August. And personally, I still don't trust that they're done right because multiple times I've asked for an itemized list of repairs that were done and the plumber's license number, a contractor name, some information so that we can gauge the quality of what was done. We've never, ever gotten that.
Yeah.
Ever.
We know we do not want to continue this relationship with them.
Yeah.
They lie, they do subpar work, they're not reliable, we want out.
Yeah, you were like, you knew you wanted out in March. Because you were like,
Oh,
from
yeah.
February to March, you still haven't done the repairs. This is not going to work for us. But I wanted to wait until everything was fixed before we canceled. I didn't want them to be like, oh, they're not even a client anymore. Why are we going to prioritize their repairs?
Right.
So I wouldn't let us terminate until the repairs from February were finished. And those repairs were not done until August.
After all the repairs were completed, we told them we were canceling, and that was in August when
Right.
we got that, everything's done, all's well. And then they hit us with a penalty. I just wanted a clean break from them. I wanted to end our contract and part ways, and they were like, nah, you didn't give us 30 days notice.
That is some crazy stuff. And I would have thought that they would be willing to waive the fee and let us go, since the service they provided was so terrible. Like, they would just be like, you know what, let's just terminate this contract. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, we recognize we didn't do
Right.
what we contracted with you to do. We didn't do what we said we'd do.
And do you know what I found out too? Is that the tenant pays a premium to real property management to be highly prioritized for repairs on the home. And the repairs from February didn't get done until August. So I'm like, they paid this fee every month and y'all didn't come out, and we're paying, we weren't paying the bottom of the barrel fees. We were paying
Right.
the increased
Right.
fees. We're paying the higher level fees for the property management to maintain it and do all the extra work.
Yeah.
I asked them for a printout of the contact log for our property. I never got that. I wanted to show them that this had been going on for months and that they shouldn't charge us the penalty. And it wasn't even about the money. It was about the principle of the thing. Like,
Right. They don't care. They don't care about their clients. And if this is what they do and things go
who
wrong.
would ever want to deal with these people? The worst part was that after we canceled, we said that we were going to cancel. They told us there was going to be a penalty. You were like, just pay the penalty and let's walk away. And I was like, hey, okay, that's not cool.
Right.
The principle of the thing. But then on our last statement, we got additional invoices where the total cost for these repairs now cost triple what we were quoted. And they just took all that money out of our account from the September rent and the required repair balance that we have to maintain in the account.
And that is on top of the penalty.
Yeah, and then they also deducted the penalty out of that.
Yeah, none of that seems legal.
I was just like, this
Or-
does not make sense.
Yeah.
So I called again and I said, can I please have a breakdown of all of these costs? And I still have not gotten that.
Yep. You would think they wanted to make it right and would get things done in a timely manner.
No. So you know what? I did some cyber stalking. I totally cyber stalked the owner of the company, of the franchise in Houston. And she was very nice. I explained that we'd had some very bad service. And she asked if she could try to make things right, if she could work on repairing the relationship. And I said, I didn't really think I could talk you to being one of their customers. But I never even heard back from her.
Yeah. What it was they were like, oh, we can give you all these things. And they were the promises of what
Was already on our contract.
already on our contract. And like, well, you promised you would give us this great service, this personal, detailed, attentive service. And
We ain't
that's
that.
what we didn't get that. And now you're just promising us that again. No, thank you.
You were like,
You came to the table with nothing. And it's like,
they came to the table saying, okay, we'll do the job we said we
we
were going to
said
do
we
in
were
the
going to
first
do in the
place.
first place. Yeah.
That's not how you operate a business, a service-based business.
Yeah, so we are putting this out there as a caution to not work with Real Property Management, a national company based on the service and downright crappy maintenance of our property.
And again, yeah.
This is October, and we still don't know
Nope.
if from January or from February, the water damage was properly treated, if there was any mold remediation done or anything like
Still
that.
have no idea.
idea.
I know if and when I can ever talk you to going back, the first thing you're going to do is rip down every wall in that room
Yeah.
and see what's going on back there.
Yeah,
Because,
because
there's
no
no
one ever did.
No one ever
And
did.
it's like,
it's crazy. We also want to caution against working with the Houston franchise of Real Property Management because evidently, if folks like us decide not to file an insurance claim, it's because we're too poor.
I looked at the value of the house and the fact that we were paying a higher premium with them so that we could get this greater service and still got treated like some bombs.
Makes you wonder why they would do that. Let me think about it for a second. Alrighty, and finally, we are hoping that someone out there, I hope that our audience is still with us at this point in the video,
Yeah, it's a long rant.
would love to do some pro bono lawyering for us and sue these guys in exchange for free advertising on our YouTube channel and on our website. Email me.
Yeah, and you come to Ghana, I can
Show you around.
I can hook you up with some of my connections here. How about that?
All right, that is a promise.
Yes, and with that, don't use Real Property Management, Houston area, garbage company, and Charlie out for now. Massive effort to treat in the hot end. Part of the move-in included having, I got a burp now.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, ready?